Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister, Hanna Maliar, sounded a cautionary note urging people not to report prematurely that towns have been taken just because Ukrainian troops have entered, as in Balaklia. A few days ago, it was reported that troops had entered the town. Today we have finally established control in the city, carried out all the necessary activities, and raised the flag, she said. In Rakov, one of dozens of villages recaptured in the Ukrainian advance, Reuters saw burnt-out vehicles bearing the Z symbol of Russia's invasion. Boxes of ammunition were scattered, along with rubbish at positions the Russians had abandoned in evident haste. "Hello everyone, we are from Russia," was spray-painted on a wall. 3 bodies lay in white body bags in a yard. The regional chief of police, Volodymyr Tymoshenko, said Ukrainian police moved in the previous day and checked the identities of local residents who had lived under Russian occupation since the invasion's second day. "The first function is to provide help that they need. The next job is to document the crimes committed by Russian invaders on the territories, which they temporarily occupied," he said. Russia is retreating. A witness in Balaki, a town in Russia's Belgorod region near the border with Ukraine, told Reuters she saw families from Kupiansk eating and sleeping in their cars along roads. "I was at the market today, and saw a lot of people from Kupiansk. They say half of the city was taken by the Ukrainian army and Russia is retreating. The fighting is getting closer," the witness said. Belgorod Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov said officials were giving food and medical aid to people queuing at a crossing into Russia. Senator Andriy Turchak, from the pro-Kremlin United Russia Party, reported more than 400 vehicles at the frontier. Russian rocket fire hit Kharkiv city on Saturday evening, killing at least 1 person and damaging several homes, part of a surge in shelling since Kyiv's counter-offensive, Ukrainian officials said. Reuters could not confirm the battlefield accounts independently. Russia's abrupt abandonment of the front line, south of Kharkiv city, brought a sudden end to a period when the war was fought as a relentless grind on a static front, favoring Moscow's advantage in raw firepower. Ukraine's deputy Russia had for months been advancing in Ukraine's east after launching its invasion. After Ukraine repelled Russian forces from Kiev, the capital, in spring, Moscow began leveling cities in the east with waves of artillery and air power. Russian troops then marched into the cities, sometimes fighting Ukrainian forces street by street to secure control. But the grinding offensive against dogged Ukrainian resistance exhausted Russian troops. In July, Ukraine began striking Russian ammunition depots and command posts with long-range missiles provided by the U.S. Russia moved thousands of troops to the south of Ukraine as Kiev touted an offensive there, leaving them stretched on the eastern front. Ukraine launched its assault in the south at the end of August, then struck to the east of Kharkiv at the start of last week, quickly sighing through Russian defenses. The Kremlin hasn't responded to gains Ukraine has made in recent days. On Saturday, Mr. Putin made a number of appearances to mark the anniversary of the founding of Moscow, but didn't address the retreat. Mr. Putin's silence on the invasion's major setback has sparked criticism from pro-Kremlin military bloggers as well as Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, a key supporter of the war effort who has urged the Russian army to try to seize Kiev. "If changes aren't made to the carrying out of the special military operation, today or tomorrow, I will be forced to contact the country's leadership in order to explain to them the situation on the ground," he said on Telegram on Sunday, using the Kremlin's euphemism for the war. Russia's defense ministry on Sunday said that its forces were continuing to strike Ukrainian positions in the Kharkiv region and that Ukrainian troops are suffering heavy losses as they advance. But a map of the battlefield displayed during the ministry's daily briefing appeared to indicate that Russian forces had completely fallen back to the eastern bank of the Oskil River. That would vacate all northern parts of the Kharkiv region where Ukraine is continuing to press its counteroffensive and hasn't yet claimed to have recaptured. Ukrainian officials said the success of their military's offensive showed to Western backers that Ukraine can take territory back from the Russians with the help of weapons the US and Europe have provided to Kiev. The effectiveness of those weapons comes at an especially welcome time for Western leaders. Earlier this month, Moscow indefinitely suspended gas flows to Europe, raising the possibility of energy rationing this winter. "We have demonstrated we are capable of defeating the Russian army. We are doing that with weapons given to us," Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba told reporters Saturday. "The more weapons we receive, the faster we will win, and the faster this war will end." In Ukraine's south, meanwhile, the country's nuclear power operator said the last reactor still active at Europe's largest nuclear power plant had been shut down after the facility was reconnected to the electricity grid. Russian troops currently occupy the Zaporizhzhia plant, and shelling had left it disconnected from the grid. That meant the plant had to rely on itself to generate electricity for crucial cooling systems. Only one of its 6 reactors was still running. Ukraine's nuclear power operator, Energoatom, said early Sunday that it was able to shut down that last reactor after one of the power lines was restored late Saturday. The move allowed the reactor to be put into cold shutdown, its safest mode, Energoatom said. The risk remains that power lines could be cut again, which would leave the plant reliant on emergency diesel generators to keep spent nuclear fuel cool, Energoatom said. Those generators have only enough fuel for 10 days. But the nuclear operator said it is working to deliver fresh supplies of diesel to the plant.
According to the country's army chief, Ukrainian forces have just reclaimed more than 1,000 square miles in the Kharkiv region, dealing one of Moscow's greatest blows since Russian forces arrived.